Good morning. We are Wednesday, hump day. Hump day. Makes me think of that old commercial. There is some internet work they're doing on Chisholm Broadband, my satellite internet feed. It's supposed to be starting this morning, so if we have an interruption, that's the deal. I'm hoping that my phone should switch over. I may or may not be able to see. I may not be able to see this. We'll see. Morning, Ryan. Ryan Owens. Where is what is the weather like in Kentucky this morning? Good morning, Jared Cook. Mara, good morning. It's gonna be another pretty day here. I think the wind's gonna blow 15 to 20, they said, but or 10 to 20, but out in the wide open, but it's gonna be 70 degrees, so we can handle that. That ain't no big deal. Morning, Sean Summers. Mom, good morning. Robin, good morning. Tiffany, good morning. Had a good crowd at Cowboy Church last night. Weather makes a big difference with that crowd. They are getting ready to redo the parking lot, so that's exciting. They're going to get it all fixed to where it drains and it doesn't get muddy when it rains. Christy, good morning. Tim Heinrich, good morning. Morning, John Smith. Got good representation from Oklahoma this morning. It's good. Well, we are going to go into Luke. Backing up, I'm not keeping track of kind of where I'm going. I just pick one of these. Morning, Scott Keller. We'll go to Luke chapter 5. I guess we skipped this, and then we'll jump ahead. I'm not going to try to. I may or may not cover the whole book of Luke. I'm not going verse by verse, but I thought we'd hit some of these miracles of Jesus, the ministry of Jesus, and how he demonstrated God's will in the earth. I say this a lot, but this is something that when I look at the life of Jesus, that's what Jesus came to do. He came to provide salvation, be the Lamb of God, but also to demonstrate God's will in the earth. If you wonder what is God's will, or how does he want to interact with man and mankind? How does he want to connect with us? Well, I'll tell you what, Jesus' life is a good example of that. And over here in chapter 5 of Luke, it says, one day Jesus was preaching on the shore of the Sea of Galilee, and great crowds pressed in on him to listen to the word of God. He noticed 2 empty boats on the water's edge, and for the fishermen had left them there and were washing their nets. Stepping into one of the boats, Jesus asked Simon, who Simon is the one that became Peter, and he said, lost my place. They were washing their nets, and he said, asked Simon, its owner, to push it out into the water so that he could sit in the boat and teach the crowd. Now, I've heard before one of the reasons that he did that was the crowd kept getting closer and closer, but kind of put a little bit of a barrier there, but also the amplification off of the water. They didn't have microphones, and these crowds were large, and so a natural amplification. You ever notice how when it's still out that there is the things like you be out on a boat, you can hear people that are out on a boat talking. It carries across the water, I guess. But But I think more than anything else, he was making a connection with Simon and Andrew and also James and John, because they were all there as fishermen. But he said when he was finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Now go out where it's deeper and let down your nets." And he said, "Master," Simon said, we worked hard all last night and didn't catch a thing. But if you say so, we'll let the nets down again." And this time the nets were so full of fish that they were beginning to tear. And a shout for help brought their partners in their boat, and soon both boats were filled with fish and on the verge of sinking. When Simon Peter realized what had happened, he fell on his knees before Jesus. And he said, "Lord, please leave me. I'm such a sinful man." For he was awestruck by the number of fish that he'd caught, and as were the others. And his partners, James and John, the sons of Zebedee, were also amazed. And Jesus replied to Simon, "Don't be afraid. From now on, you'll be fishing for people." You know, the King James said, "I'm going to make you fishers of men." Your life just changed. But as soon as they landed, they left everything and followed Jesus. And you know, that story is about Jesus teaching the word, Peter getting involved or being willing to be involved, and then the call of God for Peter. And we know that Andrew, his brother, left with him as well. And James and John, the timing of their his partners, they all left. And now, one of the things that several things happening right here, but one of the things that stands out to me is that not only was Jesus calling Peter and as a simple, just a simple fisherman. Thank God he doesn't require great skills. He just needs a willing vessel, a willing person. You know, God can use. He proves it throughout the Bible. He can use anyone who's willing, and so he calls us to do things that are beyond our own ability. He'll use our talents. I'm amazed at many of the people that God's brought me in contact with. Some of you on here, that people with just great skills. You got great skills in leadership. You got great skills in with your hands doing things. You got great skills with people, sales, all these different types of things that you're skillful in and you're gifted in. But all God really needs is a willing heart, a willing vessel, somebody who's willing to say, "Yes, Lord, use me." And I told him last night, I said, don't worry about being called to preach, be in the fivefold ministry, be a missionary, everybody's kind of afraid to surrender their life to God because you don't know where he's going to take you. But understand that he's going to make provision for you. That's the example here. And also that if we're called to do whatever it is, we're not going to be at peace without without following God. We're not going to be, and we're not going to be able to do something that isn't the as far as preaching, teaching, ministering, being in the ministry. As far as you're not going to be able to do that successfully for a long period of time without God's blessing on it. The draw's too, the weight's too heavy. But you can push that away and miss God, but boy, you're going to miss all the blessing that came with it. But the thing I love is Peter is taken care of. He's the only one of the original 12 that were chosen, the only one that was married. He had a family. His dad was, there were partnership, family business or partnerships, and indication here is that God has taken care of them for the period of time to step away from that business, and God took care of them. That load of fish, that boat full of fish, might have been a year's worth of fish. I don't know. I know it'd have been a lot of work to walk away from, to leave with somebody, because you got to clean them. But I see that as God's provision. I also see it as this. Jesus got into their personal lives, not in an intrusive way, but in a way that blessed them, and he was interested in those things. It was part of how, and that's the way God is with us. He doesn't just want to be out there on the fringes of our life, or just only in a certain part of our life. He wants to be involved with us on an everyday basis. It's like I said last night, God, when I was still full-time ranching and working before I went into ministry, and I really surrendered my life to God, he still does it today, but he did it even before, where he would direct me in my day to be in the right place at the right time, to be efficient with my time, to more quickly assess a problem and fix it. The things that made me more efficient, so it saved me time. It made me better at the job I was doing. If you can anticipate problems, it's just, you're just that much better, and it makes you look really good, and you can get into pride and get to thinking, boy, aren't I smart? And then, God can step back and you fall flat on your face. If we continue to give God thanks and praise for that, and realize and stay humble in his working in our everyday life, he'll make you better. He'll make you able to do and to see things. He'll put you in a place of blessing, in other words. And when the problems come, you're able to navigate them and handle them and take care of them, much different than those that don't have God. And so that's one of the things that I see. Part of what I see out of this is that God is at work wants to be at work in our everyday life. So if you're out there catching cattle, if you're out there, going into a sales meeting, if you're running a company or a business, dealing with employees, I was thinking about all the things that I've got on my, goals sheet, or the things that I'm desiring to do, and I see us going to in ministry in 2024. A lot of these things are beyond my capacity to do it, but I know that God, being involved in it, is going to bring the right people, the right surroundings, the right resources, the things that I need in order to get it done. And some of that may require, hiring help, or the right person come into the ministry that has some experience and has some time and willingness to volunteer some stuff, or maybe there's different things that would have to happen, but I know God's big enough to bring those things together. And so in our everyday life, if we involve God in not only the ministry part of life, that's what he was doing here. Simon let him use his boat, and then God brought blessing on his everyday life. And so just think about that, and expect God, begin to see God in your all throughout your week. And I believe that's what you're doing by getting on here and hearing the word and studying. So go out today and look for an opportunity to put this to work. Ask God to show you how he's at work in your life, in and through your life. And there may be a very small group that you're actually able to share that with without sounding like some crazy person. But you can begin to go, man, maybe if you're married, your spouse, you say, man, I see God in that. Or isn't it amazing how, I was sharing that yesterday with something that just took place, something just happened. Somebody said, well, aren't you lucky? And I said, no, that's just God being at work in my life. I give God the credit for that, not luck. And so, just a simple little way of giving God glory and praise for it, and keeping it at the forefront of our lives. Well, listen, go out today, be a blessing to somebody, and go get them for Jesus. Love y'all. Let's see, Kenzie, good morning. I saw a text from you. I'll look at it here in a minute. Regina, good morning. Misty, good morning. Boyd Pete, good morning. Brad, morning. Scott Maloney, brother, good morning. Valerie, good morning. Brandy, hey, good morning. Christy, good morning. I've had a funeral the last 3 Saturdays, so maybe I can get some work done on Saturday for Lane. Morning, Lucy. I think I got everybody else. Y'all have a great day. Go out today. Be blessed.